The Boston Red Sox have taken a 7-2 victory in Oakland to start off their West Coast road trip. Big win for them. If they're going to want to get to 500, they got to go 7-3 on the road trip. And it is a good start to this road trip for them to get a win against Oakland. My name is Derrik, and this is Red Sox Recap on Bleacher Brawls. And let's get into it. So big game for the Red Sox, obviously a 7-2 win, putting on 3 insurance runs in the ninth after Oakland got 2 from a Jed Lowry double. Little old friend, I guess, if you want to say, Jed Lowry. But it was a big game for the Red Sox. I do want to go to the pitching. Nate Eovaldi was solid, 6 innings, only giving it 4 hits, only walked 1 guy, and that was in the 6th inning. 8 strikeouts, no runs. Nate's thrown 10 scoreless innings and 10 consecutive scoreless innings, and going back to his last start, and he's been good. And good again tonight. And I don't know how much was percentage-wise he threw a slider, but I think he threw it 13 to 14 times tonight. He only threw it, I think, 3 times the first time through the order, maybe 4 times. So it looks like he's maybe going away for slider a little bit. He's still using it, but not as much, if I remember correctly. Because I know his last start, after he gave it the 2-run homer in the 5th to the Orioles, he only threw it 3 times the rest of the game. So maybe there's something going on with the slider, maybe not. We'll see. But I think it was, nice to see him make that adjustment last game, and him pitching well can carry it into this game, obviously, as he went 6 strong innings, no runs. Big start from the Red Sox, needed it. Red Sox put up 7, but they only put up 4 before the 9th inning. But big game from Kike with 2 hits. One of them was a double. So it was a good game from Kike. Devers had that hit in the 9th, I think it was. That was a double. Martinez had a hit. Bogarts had 2 hits and 3 RBIs from Bogarts. Verdugo had a hit. He also drew a walk, so reached base twice. That's a good game for Verdugo. Trevor Story, he went 2 for 3, but he also walked twice, and he also added on top of stolen base. That's a very good game from Trevor Story. You like to see that. Franchi Cordero, 1 for 3. A good game. He did strike out twice, so it looks like the strikeouts are starting to creep back a little bit, which is somewhat expected because he made adjustments, and now the league's starting to adjust to him a little bit. So it's back, and ball's back in his court for him to make the adjustment. But he's been good. Dahlbeck, he only had 2 at bats, but he walked twice. So a 2-walk game from Dahlbeck, only the 4th time he's had more than 1 walk in a game in his career. And then Plawecki didn't do anything in the 9 spot, but he's not there for his offense right now. He's there because Eovaldi's comfortable with him behind the plate. Obviously, good for the Red Sox, about 10 hits on the board, 7 runs. They only scored in 3 innings. So maybe, obviously it would be nice if they could kind of, they could put up a big 5 spot in 1 inning, then score a couple and score runs in multiple innings as well as that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. If you put up 7 and you win, you're going to take it all day. And there's a little shaky from the bullpen in the 8th inning. They tried to get Danish to go 2, which probably wasn't the greatest idea. Looking back at it, but I understand what they were trying to do. Then they brought in Strom. He only got 1 out, and he gave up for earned run. He got an earned run tagged on himself. But Schreiber eventually got out of the inning, only limited it to 2 runs that inning. And then Brazier obviously pitched the 9th. However, big thing with Red Sox bullpen, I think the big story that maybe some people missed, Tanner Houck was warming up to go in the 9th inning. Had it stayed 4-2, Tanner Houck would have came in for the save. And they've started to use them only 2 innings here, 2 innings here. 2 innings here, 2 innings there. He's gone away from those 3-4 inning outings, it seems. So maybe Alex Cora is looking at this bullpen right now, like, hey, we need a closer, and maybe Tanner Houck's the guy. We got to give someone a shot. Let's give Houck the shot. And it should be noted that Cora normally makes changes around the 50-game mark. We just passed the 50-game mark. So it would be the right time, around the time that Cora would make a change like this and putting Houck in a closer role. This would be the time for it. Now Strom struggled a little bit. His last 2 outings, yes, they were a week apart, but he came in, had the loss in that Baltimore game, that 12-8 game, and he came in today, wasn't really good. Maybe Houck as the closer is the right way to go. I know a lot of people are saying Whitlock, but you know what? I think Houck's probably the second best option. If they want to keep Whitlock in the rotation, then roll with Houck as the closer. I'm 100% fine with that. And I think most Red Sox fans will be fine with it, especially if he pitches well. And maybe he'll be a starter again next year. Maybe he solidifies himself as a closer. Who knows? But for this year, it seems like the Red Sox need either him or Whitlock as the closer. So hopefully Cora and the Red Sox have realized, hey, we need to put someone back there who we know we can trust to get outs, and maybe Tanner Houck's that guy. That's the hope. Obviously, who knows? Maybe they weren't planning on using him, but they kind of fell into it because of necessity, because they had used Danish and Strom and Schreiber all in the 8th inning, and obviously Danish pitched the 7th as well. So maybe it's just like, well, we don't really have anyone else that we trust that enough. But I'm hoping it was Houck stepping into the closer role. That's what I'm hoping. Another big story for the Red Sox offense today was Trevor Story. As I said, big game from him, 2 and 2 for 3. Also drew 2 walks, 2 RBIs. He also had a stolen base on a pickoff attempt to first, where he just went on first movement and he was fast enough to take second. He's 7-7 on stolen bases, and the Red Sox needed someone who could bring that speed, bring some stolen bases to the lineup, because no one else has really done it this year. Last year, Christian Vasquez led the team in stolen bases. Can't have that. You cannot have that. So Story's been good. The speed helps, and he didn't strike out tonight, which was good. He did have some swing and misses, but he didn't strike out. Drew 2 walks. That's huge. And he went 2 for 3 and I don't think any of those hits were extra base hits, if I remember correctly. No, one of them was a double. I didn't remember correctly. One of them was a double, and it was important. Bogarts also added a homer for one of his 2 hits. And the Red Sox offense looked good tonight for the most part, I guess. They only scored in 3 out of the 9 innings. But at the end of the day, that's, 1 every 3 innings. 1 for 3 in baseball is 333 average. And you take that as an offensive player. So it all depends on how you look at it realistically. On the athletic side of things, there wasn't too much going for them besides the 8th inning with Jed Lowry having that 2-run double and threatening a little bit past that. There really wasn't much for them. They had 6 hits. 2 of them were from Lowry. They didn't really get a bunch of, it was just kind of hit here, hit there, kind of against Eovaldi. And then obviously, the walks caught up to the Red Sox a little bit in that bullpen in the 8th inning. But all in all, the A's have struggled this year, and they struggled again tonight offensively besides the 8th inning. And I think that's to be expected. The A's are definitely rebuilding. So we'll see, how the rest of the series plays out. But the Red Sox don't win this series, they're going to have to do some serious thinking. They need to go 7-3 on this road trip to be 500. And they're playing the right teams to do it. Oakland, not good, rebuilding. The Angels have lost, I think, 9 in a row now. And then Seattle, we've already swept this year, and they haven't been that great this year. The Red Sox are playing the 3 perfect teams on a West Coast road trip. You're avoiding Houston, and you're avoiding Texas. Those are 2 teams you want to avoid in the West right now. They're Houston. And Texas has been good as of late, and Martin Perez might be the front runner for the AL Cy Young. How crazy. I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but he might be. He's been ridiculously good this year. Been really good. The Oakland pitching side of things, Caprillion, he went 5 1/3, gave up 4 runs. Not a great outing for him. His ERA is up to over 6 now, a 6.06 ERA. They're going to hope they can get more out of him. Their bullpen wasn't bad, though, with the exception of the 9th inning with Domingo Acevedo, giving up 2 runs in a third of an inning. And then the other guy they brought in, I forget his name, Sam Moll, however you pronounce it, he gave up the 3rd run in the 9th inning. Big story for the Red Sox offense today that you like seeing this improvement in is the walks. They only struck out 5 times. They drew 6 walks. That's huge for the Red Sox. They walked more than the Athletics. The Athletics drew 4 times. And that's been somewhat of a problem at times, a lot of the time for the Red Sox this year. So not walking. So their only means of getting on base is getting hits. And when the bats aren't going and you're not getting hits, you're not getting guys on base. Whereas at least if the bats aren't going, but you can draw a couple walks here, all you may need is a hit. A walk and a double scores a run. You get a walk, move the guy over to second, and a single scores them. So just getting guys on base through walks, through a way that's not hits, is important. It wasn't as important tonight because the bats were going, but it's nice to see because they are going to have games where the bats aren't 100% there. But if they can get a couple guys on base through walks, it'll be important because then you only need a hit to drive them in. Which you're going to be games where that extra run will matter. It will matter. It could be the difference between going extras and potentially losing or winning it in 9. And that's important. I don't have any other thoughts on this game, so that's going to wrap this up. Thanks for checking out this Red Sox recap. Make sure to look at the description, all the links, the website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, and then all the crew's Twitter's also down there. We did a Twitter space for this game. So if you missed it, keep an eye out for the next one. We're doing around 2 a week. Sometimes some weeks we only get 1 in, but most weeks we're doing 2 Twitter spaces during Red Sox games. So if you want to talk to the crew, talk to all of us, that's the time to do it. All you got to do is hop on Twitter, go to the Bleacher Brawls account when we're going live. Obviously, most of the crew retweet all the stuff out as well. But the Bleacher Brawls account, that's where you're getting all information on when we're going to go live for spaces and all that stuff. And make sure, like I said, like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and share this to all your family, friends, and everyone else you know. We're growing here, putting out a ridiculous amount of content. So make sure to check it all out. Previous Red Sox game recaps, prospect pipelines, and then Monday, Friday videos on whatever team, divisions, or topics we just want to cover that are around the big leagues. Yesterday we did a Yankees video. On the Friday we also did a breaking news video on Yordan Alvarez, the Yordan Alvarez extension, and Phillies firing Joe Girardi. Wednesday we did a Ceddanne Rafaela prospect pipeline, my personal favorite prospect in the Red Sox system. And this upcoming Monday we have another video that's somewhat undecided. We know what we're doing, but it's undecided whether or not we want to give it out. So you're gonna have to wait for that to find out what it is. Then on Wednesday, we'll have a prospect pipeline covering the Salem Red Sox. So keep an eye out for that. My name is Derek. You're watching Red Sox Recap on Bleacher Brawls, and we'll see you next time.